Hello everyone, it is MTG Nerds United, or Delectable as they call me on Tapped Out, or Jake as they call me everywhere else. So of course I have another deck tech for you guys today, as is the pattern for those, for my newer subscribers, or just for people that are coming back. My, way I do things on this channel, I will first upload deck tech and then gameplay, from that deck. So with this one, though I'm not quite sure I will be doing that, but I wanted to share this deck anyways. This is one of the most surefire way to lose your friends. So if you're trying to get rid of them, let me just help you here by telling you to play this deck. So this is in a series of decks I'm going to be doing now called Losing Friends on a Budget. Basically going to be a series of different kinds of control decks, because typically that is what will piss your friends off the most, besides infinite combos and things of that nature. Now, this one, the first installment, is Turbofog for the modern format, and we managed to make it mono-white, and before you scream at me for saying, oh no, it's not that budget, so it comes in at about $200. Now, might seem a bit pricier to some of you, and for some of you might be thinking, oh, that is budget. Well, you both might be right. Now, a majority of this price comes from the sideboard with Layleen of Sanctity. Taking out that card alone brings this deck down to about $100, which I would consider budget. Now, that card alone is so important in the sideboard that is absolutely necessary in my opinion. But regardless, I think this deck is very budget friendly for how just good it is. And if you're looking to piss off your friends like I am, then this deck will be wonderful for you. So, it is, of course, for the modern format, and it is, at the core, a fog deck, and this deck works fine without this one simple card, but however, what makes this deck function so well is Isochron Scepter. We run a total of 4 copies, and it is a 2-mana artifact, if you're not familiar with it, that has imprints. So when it enters the battlefield, you exile an instant card with converted mana cost 2 or less from your hand. And then if you pay 2 and tap Isochron Scepter, you may copy the exiled card, and if you do, you may cast the copy without paying its mana cost. Now, this is a really, if you can't tell by now, this gets really stupid because all you really need for this deck to function is 2 mana, Isochron Scepter, and any of our 20 fog effects except for Batwing Broom. So, you will be able to repeatedly cast this on your opponent's turn and just not let them play anything. And that's the main idea of the deck. You are going to basically sit back and laugh and let them build up their board presence as much as they want, but you simply won't care because you will just fog them every turn with Isochron Scepter, or again, one of the 20 fog effects we have in this deck. So I'll just start off going by card there. So I'll start off, we have Angel Song, 2 mana, colorless, and white, prevent all combat damage will be dealt, simple, and then has cycling tagged onto it. Pay 2, discard the card, draw a card. Simple enough. Can cycle it to get something else if we want to, or just play as a fog. Very simple. Batwing Broom. Now, this card actually is making me consider splash black, and what I'll be splashing black for is literally just the black mana source. So it's an instant 1, and you can pay either white or black, and it has prevent all combat damage that would be dealt this turn if white was spent to cast Batwing Broom. Each player loses 1 life for each attacking creature he or she controls if black was spent to cast Batwing Broom. And if you pay both, then you get to do both abilities. So, of course, this is mono-white currently, so we would just be preventing the combat damage. However, our opponents tend to build up a big board states. And this card would be an alternate win condition for us if we so wanted it. So I'm considering splashing black. Let me know what you think about that. We could do it for very cheaply, just adding in even a guild gate or something like that. We don't really need great color fixing because I'm not going to make this a heavy splash, if at all. Next, we have Dawn Charm. So this is the most versatile fog in the deck. You get to choose one of these. Prevent all combat damage that would be dealt, or regenerate target creature, which is pretty irrelevant in our deck. or counter target spell that targets you. So that last ability is a very fun trick in some cases. You can use it to counter burn spells against burn decks, or even stuff like Gitaxian Probe, funny enough. I've actually done that a couple of times, people are always shocked. Getting a counter spell out of a white deck is typically something that opponents do not expect. Next we have just our 2 1-mana fogs, Ethereal Haze and Holy Day. Prevent all combat damage will be dealt this turn, or dealt by creatures this turn in Ethereal Haze's case. Simple, enough said. Next we have 4 Wrath of God. Oh, that's the new art. Hadn't noticed that they changed it. That anyways. Wrath of God, as you can see here, this one is showing the new art with Heliod on it from the Vault Annihilation, I believe. But for Wrath of God, just destroy all creatures, they can't be regenerated. This just wipes the board clean for whatever needs that it may be. If they were to have Artifact, Hate, and then destroy our Isochron Scepter, or we run out of fogs, it's just always good to play it safe with this deck. Next, we'll move on to our artifacts. I obviously already talked about Isochron Scepter, but we have 2 Elixir of Immortality, so this can be very helpful life gain in some cases. And in others, this just lets you shuffle the Elixir and all of your graveyard back into your library, so you can get all those fogs that you've been casting back in there. Next, we have 4 Howling Mine. So, of course, we want to make sure that our hand is stocked with these fogs so that we don't run out, or try to hit the Isochron Scepter if we don't have it yet. So this, of course, is the 2-mana artifact. At the beginning of each player's draw step, if Howling Mine is untapped, that player draws an additional card. So basically, everyone just gets 2 draw steps. We don't really care about our opponent's draw steps too much, because all we're going to be doing is fogging them. And then onto our land base, we run 22 lands, 20 plains, and 2 tectonic edges to destroy stuff like the blue-white control decks, man lands upon the man lands just to stop that. Mutavaults, not as prevalent in Modern. The Scapeshift lands, not Scapeshift, maybe Scapeshift? I don't know. But yeah, just very versatile card and good in certain matchups. And then finally, we have our win condition, our sole win condition minus our opponents milling themselves out, which actually could happen in this very grindy deck. But we have 4 Luminarch Ascension. It costs 1 and a white. At the beginning of each opponent's end step, if you didn't lose a life this turn, you may put a quest counter on Luminarch Ascension. So obviously we're going to be fogging our opponents every turn, hopefully, so we will not be taking damage pretty much at all. So then we will just get to stack these counters on it up until we get 4, and then once we do that, we can start slowly putting out an army of angels. The ability is pay 1 and a white to put a 4/4 white angel creature token with flying onto the battlefield. And you can only activate it if you have 4 or more counters on Luminarch Ascension. So we're just going to slowly build up our army, and usually just go for an Alpha Strike or something along those lines. It is a very grindy game in some cases, and this is our sole win condition in the deck. And it is just very fun. So that's the main deck. It can handle most decks in the formats. Surprisingly enough, most decks don't have an answer to 20 fogs or a fog spell on a Isochron Scepter. But there are some decks that we have trouble with, so let's just move to the sideboard. Sideboard, we have 2 more Elixir of Immortality for the grindier matchups to just shuffle stuff back into our library. The life gain can be very helpful. Just the same stuff, more of the same can be helpful. Now, the really important cards. Layleen of Sanctity. This card makes us pretty much every deck that would in other ways beat us, this card prevents that. So burn, that's going directly to our face, and our prevent combat damage doesn't prevent that. This lets them not target us. Against the rack, they can't target us with their discard spells. Against storm, they can't get us with the grape shot, so they have to resort to the creatures, which obviously we have fogs for days for. So it's just a very, very important sideboard card that comes in many matchups, and it is pretty much needed. Then we have 4 Oblivion Ring. So some stuff we just can't hit. We can bring in against a variety of matchups, stuff to hit maybe the rack or other things of that nature, because we could obviously bring in this in that matchup because our so many fog spells won't be that prevalent. However, it is just good in a variety of matchups, and as you play, that is a kind of by ear thing. It's just a very versatile card for this deck. Then we have 3 Pithing Needle. One thing that we cannot handle very well is Planeswalkers. We not running really any answers for them. This lets us shut down Planeswalkers. It can shut down manlands and just many things. And then we have 2 Rest in Peace. So this is our graveyard hate for the deck. Whenever it enters the battlefield, exile all cards from all graveyards, and if a card or token will be put into a graveyard from anywhere, exile it instead. So that's our graveyard hate, and there you go. That pretty much wraps up the deck. Very simple deck and very evil deck. You will have fun torturing your friends, much like I will mine. And yeah, I hope you guys like the deck. Leave down in the comments below whether you'd want me to do some gameplay for this deck. I wasn't thinking I would because it is obviously very grindy matchups and might not be the most interesting compared to my more aggro builds. However, if you do want me to, I will gladly do that for you guys. So just tell me down below if you want to. If I get 1 or 2 people that want to, I'll definitely upload a video. But anyways, thank you guys for watching. If you liked the video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to me if you haven't already. And I will see you guys next time. Bye!